And also, as a backup, if someone else can also record this, I think it's gonna be great. I flew out from New Zealand to attend your boot camp in Singapore. Uh, Perfect. All right. Okay, great. We have people recording it now, and I accepted your invitation, so that's good. Anjum Bhai in the building. Nice to see you. Thank you, Jessica, for trying to record this. Appreciate it. We got Ali here. We got Don, King Ray, Shabazz Bhai is here. Eric, get some. Come on, get some. Get some is here. Beautiful. Okay. Let's see here now. So I have two systems running at the same time. I have two systems running at the same time, and I don't want to do anything which will break anything. So thank you, Will. Thank you, Tesserolo. Tesserolo. So I'm still getting some things over here that people want to join. So we're just gonna wait 5 minutes until people join. And yeah, so let me do this. So we got our entire system is running over here. Have camera. By the way, we're in the Dominion office here today with the view of the something they're trying to build over here. Let me show you guys the view. Let me turn this camera around. I hope I don't break it. Whoa. Yeah, look at that. Will it autofocus? Oh, it's gonna autofocus. Got a pillar in the building, and then we are officially in the Dominion office at this point. All right, let's put this back. We're in Dubai, Business Bay. We are in Business Bay. Yeah, we're in Business Bay. We are 100% operational. So we got 79 people here. Um, Also, what I tell you guys is that whoever is here today and whoever signed up to the virtual class, if you guys are a client at Dominion Markets, you guys are going to be placed in a special group, and in that group, you'll only pay $5 per one lot commissions because normally it's $7 per one lot. So we're going to go with $5 per one lot commission for everyone who is here, and if you're a client at Dominion Markets, because normally it's only reserved for clients who deposit 100,000 plus. Before it was 250,000, then we did 100,000, but now anyone who's over here, this is like my offer to everyone. And like if let's say someone pays $7 per commission, we pay a little bit in liquidity. So like this is something that we're gonna offer you guys. Where is the Zoom link at? Yeah, I knew someone's not going to be able to sign in. I knew it. So let me just post it right here. Where's the Zoom link at? Okay. All right. So let me do this over here now. I'm just going to make a story for people if someone can't find a Zoom link, they'll just be able to email. All right. Then you register. Okay, just gonna send a message to, hey brother, how are you? Just want to ask where can I find a link to a virtual boot camp, to the virtual boot camp? Yeah, all the links should be in your email. All right, let's do this over here. Yes, hello, Mr. Hassan. So some people can't. join. I don't know. They're not checking their emails or whatever. So I made a story. So people are gonna email that email, which we have bootcamp@market3d.com. Just verify their email addresses and then just send them the link. I do hope everyone can come into the Slack here later on. Okay, anyway, so let's get this on the road, and then we're gonna go over what are we gonna be discussing here today. All right. So, one thing I want to point out is that this is where we're going to take you from the very, very basics of like currency pairs, times of volume, the software to use, the template to choose for smart logic concept candles, all the way into like, impulse entry, fake outs. Fake outs I'll try to cover. Fake outs I'll try to cover on the fourth day because it's not that important, because at the end of the day it all depends on how you read candles and is there really volume in the market or not. So all those things matter at that point. Yeah. So day one, what's this? Deny. What's this? All right, deny. Let's see over here. So what we're gonna do is there a separate Slack, or we will get the end of the master class? You'll get everything at the end of today. By the end of today, you'll get everything. I wish I could. Yeah. So can we get a recording? Guys, listen. These fucking stupid questions, just keep them to yourself, right? Can we get the recording? Where will the recording be? I'm just going to remove you, refund your fee because I don't need this. Like, what are you, 5 years old? Of course you're going to get the recording. Okay, let's continue. So I'm going to ignore every comment. I'm going to ignore everything that comes in. Can we pin a message over here? I will ignore every comment till the end of today. Yeah, this is going to be good. Keep your questions till the end. All right, perfect. Oh, I can't pin this. So here's what I'm going to do. Yeah, I don't know how to close the chat. So we're just going to continue on. Perfect. So day one. Today we're going to do introduction to MetaTrader 5. We're going to do introduction to how to set up the platform. So we're going to go for about 2 hours. We're going to take a break for about 15, 20 minutes, and then we're going to continue on for another hour and a half, 2 hours. That's going to be day one. We're also going to look at best sessions to trade based on your choice of currency pair. We're also going to look at time frames. And the most important thing that I realized is that looking at the 4-hour time frames, trying to understand that which session falls within which time frame. That's going to be very important. Time frames that also correlate with volume sessions. And then we're going to go on with candle basics, currency pairs, zones, ranges. And at the end of the day, we're going to have live question and answer session. Awesome. So let's do this over here. Now, everyone's good with volume? Perfect. All right, so what do we want to do? We want to set up our MetaTrader. So we will try to share our screen here now. Let's see. Okay, perfect. We all can see our screen at this point, right? There should be no confusion. We can all see our screen. This is the platform that I use. This is MetaTrader 5. So whenever you start up the platform, you're going to see a lot of confusion happening right over here, right? These are all your indicators, and indicators are always lagging indicators, right? Now, when I first started in the beginning, so let me tell you a quick breakdown of how things started for me. So when I first started in the beginning, I thought that, okay, maybe if I use a lot of indicators, this is basically going to tell me where price is going to move, and I'm going to be able to take a trade and say that, okay, now we can continue to move bullish or bearish or whatever the case may be. Now, if we look at that chart now, let's say we're looking at an indicator called SPOCH. right? And I would say, okay, you know what? It's at the bottom. This means a buy. But when I really start to look at the candles, when I really start to study, price action, I realized that indicators are always going to be behind prices. It's not always going to be the case that the indicators are going to tell you exactly where prices are going to go. Price action, the way the candles are forming, the way there's volume in the market is going to be only thing that's going to tell you where price is going to go. So we're going to set up our MetaTrader based on how you're able to read the candles correctly. So the first thing you want to do is you want to remove all indicators. So we right click right here, we delete indicator, right click right here, we delete, del delete, delete, del oh, all right. Let's see over here. There we go. Delete indicator. See how tough these indicators are to delete? Because this is the main reason why people fail a lot of time because it's really hard to get rid of them. Okay, perfect. We got rid of that. Let's get rid of this like this. So we have an EMA right here. Let's get rid of this. Now, we want to look at clean price action, right? Without looking at clean price action, we're never going to be able to know where price is going to go because I'm a firm believer that if we cannot look at the candles. And if we can't identify where price is going to move based on just looking at the candles, there's no indicator in the world which is going to tell us where price is going to go. So we're going to clean up the chart. I like clean charts. Right click, and then we go to properties. Going to properties, I'm going to remove this grid. Grid is going to be, I need no grid over here. I need, let's say, black and white, right? Black and white, no grid. Perfect. Now, we got our chart set up just like this. Now, the next thing that we want to do is we want to move the candles to the other side. No, we want to move the candles to the other side so that we have clean space here to the right-hand side. Now, this may look really simple, but a lot of people still don't know this. Up over here, you see all your tools, right? All your tools at this point. These are tools that will help you plot your charts better. All these tools are going to basically help you like how you want to read charts. Now, first things first, let's say, for example, you don't have your shapes. So let me, line study, let me remove my shapes. And let's say you don't have your time frames. That's it. It's all removed. How to get these on your charts? Very simple. You go to insert because you have to insert things in the application. So you click insert, you go to indicators, we don't need indicator. You go to objects, we don't need objects. You go to experts, we don't need this. We don't need this. Sorry, I lied. That's not how you do it. You just right click here in the top. Oh, go all the way over. Oh, I fucked up. All right, you right click here and then you click line studies. You're gonna have line studies. You right click right here again and you're gonna get time frames. You can move this up over here as well. Now, if you want to move your chart to the left-hand side, there's a button right here. This says shift end of the chart from the right border. So that's the right border to your right-hand side, and then you click that and the chart moves. Next, sometimes, guys say, hey, Raja, how do you move your chart freely, like on TradingView, and I can't do that. It's super hard. It's super simple. See this icon, scroll the chart to the end on tick incoming. This basically means to be able to move the chart all the way to the left-hand side. Right now it's locked. So if I click this, now I can move my chart to the left-hand side. Okay. Next, I want to be able to move the chart up and down like you do on TradingView. So this is what we do. We right click, we go to properties, and we go to common. From here, we click on scale fix and we hit OK. And now you're going to notice there's going to be a black line on the right hand side. That's basically going to tell you where price is going to move. All right, let's see over here. One moment here. Okay, right from here, you can move it up and down. And now you can move your chart up and down. And even if you move to the left hand side, you can still move your chart up and down. It's super, super simple at this point. Okay, one moment here. I'll be right back. All right. Uh, let's see this. Perfect. Right? MetaTrader, so far, super simple, shouldn't have any issues at this point. Next, what we want to do is we see that there's a thing called algo trading on the left-hand side on the top end. This algo trading, this works perfectly if you have your magic keys. Once you have your magic keys, algo trading is going to work perfectly well. Next, we're going to take a look at how to draw zones on the chart. Osman C is trying to record, deny. Okay. Now, how to draw zones on the charts? It's also very simple. You see on the top, you have a draw a rectangle, and you just do this. Now, initially, it's not going to look like this. So the best thing to do is we need to adjust the settings of drawing these rectangles. So if this is the first time you're looking at MetaTrader 5, these indications are very important because you want things to look very crisp, very clean. So we're going to go over how to adjust these settings. So you see at the corners, you see these squares. So all you got to do is double click these squares. You right click it. Hey, Jason, nice standing desk you have over there. All right. So you right click this, you go to properties, and there we go. Now you got your settings, style, whatever you want to have color on it. I like to have the gray color, parameters, and yeah, that's about it, right? And here you can change these settings here to whatever you want. Now, initially, if you're going to draw the rectangle, what you're going to get is you're going to get is a red rectangle, which may look like this, right? So you're going to notice that it's not filled with color. Now, there's a specific setting that you have to choose. So if you go to properties, and then let's say I want to change the color to same, like, dark gray or whatever, and you go to parameters, right here, you're going to see fill. I hit fill, I hit OK, and there we go. We got our thing right away. Our rectangle is right here. Now, as we move along with the class, we're also going to slowly start to, see how we can plot our zones, how we can do like some basic chart work. I think that's going to be on next Friday, because initially we're just going to go over simple things to get you prepared for next week. And also we have NFP today. If you guys want, we can trade NFP, right? Cool. Perfect. NFP is easy, man. Buy stops, sell stops, and just hope for the best. That's it. That's what I do with NFP. All right, perfect. So then we can also draw zones up over here. Next, we have lines. Lines is also very simple. Anything that you see in MetaTrader, everything right here is very, very customizable. Like you see these lines, you can customize these. You can see the rectangles. You can also customize them. It's actually very simple. So just give me a moment over here. Okay, next we have on the left-hand side, you have all your pairs here to the left. And from here, you can kind of like see that which pair you want to choose, right? So if let's say I like this template, because if I bring on a new pair, let's say I bring on USJPY and I bring on a chart window, my chart window is going to look like this. Now, what I want to do is that whenever I open up a new currency pair, I want the same chart template to be added to the new one. And what you want to do is you want to save this template first. All you got to do is hit right click, you go to templates, and you save template. And the name I'm going to give over here is like virtual class template, template, right? I save it. And if I go to UCJPY, I right click, I go to templates and virtual class template, boom, got this right over here, right? And also one thing I want to know, I want to point out is that a lot of people look at the charts like this, right? If you're looking at a charts all zoomed out, you can't see candles. You don't know what candles are doing. You can't see candles. And then I see guys doing like, oh, we have a trend line going up over here. We broke down over here and we have another line moving like this. And then maybe we can go up and then we can, come down and then we can continue to move up. Like all this bullshit. It's very difficult to analyze price like this. So what I like to do is my favorite way of looking at the charts is I zoom in, right? I zoom in and that's how I look at this is how I like to look at the charts. I zoom in, I want to see exactly what the candles are doing. Now I know that, okay, if we have a resistance over here, and if we do break up, there's a potential move for price to move up for about 20 pips. In the same instance, we have a support down over here, and so I like to look at the candles. You have to zoom in enough where you can look at the candles and you can say that, okay, you know what? This is what's going to work for me. Now let's see over here. If I right click, go to templates, Raja Banks. Now this is my template, right? If you guys want this template, I'm gonna send the file over in the Slack group, and then it's all up to you how you can load this template up to your MetaTrader. If I go to properties, colors, okay. If you want to screenshot this, take a picture of these, perfect, you can do that. I'm gonna count till 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. And don't worry, I'm going to give you guys this template as well. This is my favorite template to use. Now, also sometimes guys say, oh, you know what? If you have the same colors on your charts, if you have the same, like let's say all candles are black or all are white or all are blue or purple, you're going to trade better because you're not going to, give certain importance to a red candle or blue candle. That's all garbage. It doesn't work like that. If a candle is going to move up, the candle is going to move up. If the candle is going to move down, it's going to move down. No color in the world is going to dictate whether the candle is moving up or down. That all depends on your psychology on how you see things at that point, right? That's not going to be the best case scenario for that. So we looked at this. We looked at MetaTrader, MetaTrader 5, very simple. The more you use the software, the more you're going to start to understand how this works, and how to better be prepared for it. It all comes down to practice. The more you practice, the more you're going to learn. There's a very famous quote that's been flowing around recently, and that quote means the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out, right? So the more you play with this, the more you're going to find out, okay, I can do this with this, I can do that with this. And also YouTube, man, just go on YouTube and figure out what you can do because I wanted to see how to move charts up and down like TradingView. I Googled that on YouTube and then the video was right there. I'll just hit scale fix and you can basically move your charts up and down, right? And that was as simple as that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move over to currency pairs and we're going to move over to sessions, right? We're going to look at which session is going to suit you best to trade. And then we're going to see what currency pairs are there. We're going to look into time frames and all that fun stuff. So let's do this over here. All right. So first thing I want to do is I want to stop this at this point. All right. Let's see here. We have any questions? No, no questions. Incredible. We are all being patient. Perfect. All right. Let's do this over here. All right. Perfect. Um, Now what I want to know is how many sessions are there? So we basically all know there are three. We total have three sessions in the market. And when I first started, I knew that, okay, if I'm going to trade the Asian session and if I'm going to trade the London session and New York session, I'm going to have a lot of opportunities to make a lot of money. And I'm going to have a lot of opportunities to kind of like, trade at any time and things are going to work out perfectly well. So I'm going to tell you how it all started for me. So when I first started trading, oh, what's this over here? Fahad is trying to draw a line. Yeah, you can draw lines over here. Uh, let's just uh, let's just remove this line here. Disable annotations and let's do this over here. All right. So when I first started, I was like, okay, what time works best for me to trade? And I knew that, okay, early in the morning is the best time for me to trade. And for me now, I'm going to put all times in Eastern time zones. For me, the best time that worked was 5 a.m. till 8 a.m. Eastern time. And I knew that if I can wake up at 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Eastern time, that's going to be my pre New York session, which I can trade and then I can call it a day. So in the beginning, when I first started in 2016, we were in Canada. So the only thing that made sense for us to trade was basically USD CAD. And there was a very good reason for that because when we were in Canada, we had CAD and then USD was right over there. So we had USD. So trading USD was perfectly normal. We we stuck around with USD CAD. Now I'm also going to tell you our strategy back then because in the first 2 months, 2 to 3 months, I was very profitable. I started with a $500 account and this one simple strategy that we were using, it made us like crazy returns. My initial start was $700 and all we knew was something very simple, very basic, and that was buy support and sell resistance. Now, the way we did that was we looked at only the 4 hour time frame, and all we did was that, okay, if we can look at the 4 hour time frame on USD CAD, and if price is going to be at support, we're going to take a buy, and the stop loss is going to be around 10 to 15 pips, and we're going to go with that. That's all what we did. We're like, okay, if the 4 hour candles are at support, we're going to take a buy, 10 to 15 stops, and we're going to let the price run. And price was running for about 20 pips, 30 pips. And I was making like, $200 a day, $150 a day on a let's say like $1,000 account. Because at that point we didn't know about risk management. All we were doing was that, okay, if I lose a trade, I'm going to lose $50, but if I win a trade, I'm going to win like $200, $150, and things are going to be okay. So we did that for about a month, and then a huge problem started. What started to happen after a while was that I started to figure out that, okay, I'm trading first thing in the morning, right? I'm looking at one or two trades, and then I go to work. And once I go to work, so we had a sales office, and once we would send our sales guys out to the field, we had like 3-4 hours to kill. And when you have 3-4 hours to kill, now you're looking at times of like uh, uh 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Eastern till like 12 noon. Now when I'm looking at times from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, I'm like, wait a minute, price is moving at this point. So if price is moving at this point, maybe I can take some trades. Maybe I can make some extra money while I make money because my agents are out in the field and we're working at my day job. So I'm like, this is a fantastic idea, and that's what I started to do. So all the money that I was making right over here, I started to risk that during a time when, like, volume starts to die down. And then you can guess what happened, right? All the money that I would make in my New York session, I would risk it during like this time, and I start to lose those profits. Now, when I start to lose those profits, like the genius I am, I was like, okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm losing profits at this point. What's the next session we have? The next session we have is the Asian session, right? Which starts at about 6 p.m. Eastern time. And I was like, perfect, let's trade at the Asian session. So I started trading at the Asian session. And like, that Asian session for me is low volume time because not many currencies are open at that time. And we're going to talk about that as well. So I started trading the Asian session and I started to lose in the Asian session. And once I started to lose in the Asian session, I started to incorporate the London session in my time as well. Now in Canada, London session starts at about 2 a.m. Then you got the London Open at 3 a.m. and I would go till about 3:30 a.m. Eastern. So my routine was I'd come home, I'd trade the Asian session, then I would have dinner with my wife, and then we'd go to bed. Then I would wake up at 2 a.m. I would trade the London session. My wife would say, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, no, you know what? I got to trade the London session. I got to work. This is my side hustle. And I want to make my side hustle to the point where I can quit working at my business. And this is going to be our like, full-time income. And we're going to be rich because the first month and a half, I turned $700 to 5,000, right? And I had that in my mind that, okay, if I can do this once, I can do this a million times over. So I got to keep trading these sessions. So I'd wake up at 2 a.m. I would trade till 3:30. At 3:30, I would go to bed and then I would wake up back again at 5 a.m. So I got into this vicious cycle of trading New York session and Asian session and then London session and just fucking up my sleep schedule. So once you're starting to go into the deep cycle, you can't help but start to look at, pairs like Australian, New Zealand dollar. There was a time we were trading USD ZAR for some apparent reason. We start to look at GBP, JPY. There's some time, we fucked around with USD ruble for some reason, because then your mind starts to go in overdrive and you start to look at all these pairs because you start to think that, okay, if I'm losing on gold or if I'm losing on pound yen, maybe let me try Australian dollar. Maybe let me try gold versus Australian dollar. Maybe let me try Australian dollar against the yen. So you start to look at all these things, and then you go into this vicious cycle of over trading and over risking. And when you look at your history, some of you guys are laughing at this point, and part of the reason why is because if you look at your trading history is going to look the same, right? Some days you come on the charts and you see, okay, gold is not moving or pound yen is not moving. Let me take a look at a pair my buddy trades because he makes money on it. Or let me look at a pair that's moving at that time. I haven't traded that, but maybe I'll make money on it, So that's what started to happen to me in the beginning. And I went into this cycle of over trading and over risking and just losing and losing and losing. And when you go into that position of like losing all the time and market is just hammering you every single day, you're like, man, what's going on at this point? Because I'm really good at business, right? I can manage my agents. We were doing about $250,000 to $300,000 a year take home from our business. We were excellent in every possible way, and I'm sure I have a lot of business people in the group right now, guys who do well at their jobs, who do well at their business, who do well at managing people and all of that. But when it comes towards trading, we just suck. We can't save our life from trading, right? So, and I'm going to tell you this again. When you're trying to trade, the work ethic needed in trading is completely different than the work ethic we have at our regular jobs or at the regular things we do. It's totally different because when we have a job, the more work we put in, our reward is going to be bigger. When it comes towards trading, the more work we put in, we're going to lose money in it. More money we're going to lose in it. So it's the psychology is totally different. We have a lot of guys there from the boot camp here as well. And You guys can really attest to this, that here in trading, you need to put the least amount of work, the least amount of work. So what happened was, at that point, my mentor was Ted, and I was talking to him, hey man, I've been trading for this long, and man, I'm just over trading. I'm exhausted, I'm tired. I don't want to go and take another course. I don't want to jump around courses because I know how to make money. I knew I made money in the first month and a half, but I don't know what the fuck is going on now because I can't make this work. And he said to me something which I still cherish to this day. He said to me that look at all the previous trades you've taken and try to explain to yourself what were you doing in that first month and a half. So I was like, okay, let me do this. So I looked at all my previous trades I took, and there were two things that I were doing in the first month and a half, and it blew my mind. Are you guys ready? Those two things were very simple. I was not over trading and I was not over leveraging. I was only looking at USD CAD, and I was only looking at USD JPY. These are the only two pairs I was trading back then. This was my game plan in the beginning. USD CAD and USD JPY. And I was only trading the New York session. That's it. There's no other session I was trading. I was only looking at New York session. Specifically, this was only pre-New York till New York Open. That's all what I was looking at. I was taking one trade or two trades max, and then I would go to my office. I would do my work. I would handle business. I would come home, spend time with my wife. I didn't have kids at that time. Spend time with my parents, and then go to bed, wake up, same time, New York Open, one or two trades, and we would call it a day. Win or loss. And also another very important thing we were doing, we had a stop loss at about, 10 to 15 pips, like monkeys, like clockwork. There was no confusion about this. We got stopped out. We still did what we had to do during the day, and then we would just wake up the next day and just do the whole thing over and over again. That's all what we did. And guys ask me all the time that, hey man, what's the it's really good to see you. Thank you, William. And guys ask me all the time, what's the best way to understand or what's the best way to stop over trading? You need to know what time do you have in your life that you can dedicate towards trading. That's very important. So you need to take a look at your own life. So let me do this right here. Right? You need to dedicate the time that you have free. For some people, maybe you guys have mornings free. Some people maybe have afternoons free. Some people maybe have your nights free. So you need to decide what time you have free in your life. And then you could say that, okay, maybe if I have afternoon free, depending on what time zone you're in, you can say that, okay, maybe New York session falls in my time zone, or you can say Asian session falls in my time zone, or you're London session or whatever. So you need to dedicate that. Which time do you have? So I'm going to talk about my example, right? So I'm in a time zone, in the Dubai time zone, and the best time that I have free for myself is when I have, London till pre-New York, the time that I have in my life. In my life, I have the afternoon till evening time. So I'm going to put this right over here. I have afternoon till evening time. And in this time frame, I have London session till pre-New York, and I'm just going to say New York session, right? That's the time that falls within my time zone. Now, once you have figured out that what time you have free for yourself as an individual, then you need to decide what session falls in that time zone. So what we're going to do is we're going to list the trading sessions, and then we're going to list which currency pairs are best to trade within those trading sessions. So we're all just going on theory at this point. So the first, we have pre-Asian, we have Asian session, Asian Open, We have pre-London. We have London session. What comes after London session? We have pre-New York. Pre-New York, we have NY Open. NY Open. Wow, we have a lot of them. We have NYSE, New York Stock Exchange Open, and the last one, we have London Close. Now, I'm not going to talk about New York Close because New York Close generally doesn't have enough volume. There's also some volume around 2 p.m. Eastern time, which is normally we have FOMC, but we're also not going to talk about that. All the questions will be answered at the end. William, what time would the 4-hour candle close Eastern, which you would take in the morning? Man, trust me, all this is going to be answered. Everything is going to be answered. Any question you have, if you keep the question to yourself for 2 hours, it's going to be answered. And also at the end, you can do live question and answers, no problem. So I'm just going to go over time frames right here of pre-Asian in Eastern Standard, right? So all times are in EST because I'm so used to EST. I've been living in the Eastern Standard Time for about 10 years. I still haven't correlated my times with Dubai. So we're gonna go with pre-Asian. Pre-Asian session is normally from 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. All right, so let me change this right here to all right, so do this. Let's change it to blue. All right, perfect. Right? Pre-Asian is from 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. Eastern. Next, you have the Asian Open. Asian Open goes from 8 p.m. and I would say like almost till like 9:30 p.m. Eastern. After Asian Open, the favorite session that I've been trading for so long now is our London session. London is like a hit and miss between, 1 and 1:30 a.m. Eastern, goes all the way till 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then you got the London Open, 3 a.m. Eastern, goes all the way till I would say like 4:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We have pre-New York. Pre-New York, lately pre-New York hasn't had a lot of volume. So whenever we talk about pre-London, pre-Asian, pre-New York, pre means before the actual market opens, where the market is basically processing the orders from the previous day or from the previous session, and then making sure that, okay, where volume can move at that time. So pre-New York, I'd say like from 6:30 a.m. Eastern all the way till 8 a.m. Eastern time. New York Open, a lot of volume at this time. This comes at 8 a.m., goes all the way till 9:30 a.m. And then you have the NY Open, NYSE Open. This is obviously at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, lots of volume at this time. London closed at 10 a.m. Eastern, all the way till I would say like 11:30. I've seen volume come in at about 11:30 a.m. Eastern as well at London close. So all these that we see over here, this is the time when there's a lot of volume in the market, right? So now let's say you're looking at a session that's at pre-Asian from like 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. This means that there's a potential of volume being at this time. There's a potential volume at this time, right? Which means that if you're looking at your lifetime or like in the time you have in your life, and you're like, okay, pre-Asian and Asian Open is the time that I can dedicate to the market, it doesn't mean that there's going to be volume exactly at this time all the time, because these are sections where volume shifts. So whenever we talk about shift in volume, this is what we talk about. If there's volume at pre-Asian, this means there may not be volume at Asian Open. If there's volume at Asian Open, this means there may not be volume at pre-London. Now, normally, if you look at the charts, you're going to see that, okay, maybe there was volume at pre-London and you traded pre-London and then you saw that, okay, London Open started to consolidate, right? If there was no volume at London Open, then you're going to wait around for pre-New York and then you can anticipate volume at pre-New York. Now, the main thing is when you're looking at the charts and you're looking at the time and you ask yourself that, okay, I'm going to trade pre-London till London Open, right? You're trading pre-London and pre-London has no volume at all. Price doesn't move. There are no big candles forming. And now you're like, okay, you know what? Let me just wait till London Open. London Open comes around and you're looking at London Open. There's no breakout happening. Price isn't going anywhere. And now you're thinking to yourself, okay, man, like, wait a minute. There was no volume at pre-London. There was no volume at London Open. And volume means that there were no big candles formed at all, right? So maybe there's going to be volume at pre-New York, right? So you wait around for pre-New York. Oh, so you wait around for pre-New York and there's no volume at pre-New York, right? So whenever you're consolidating for this long, like if you look at like pound yen, or if you look at like pound USD, and if you can notice that we've been like ranging for this long, maybe the volume is going to come on later on. Like if you all look at gold at this point, right? Just look at gold here today. Just look at gold. Open up your gold chart and look at gold, and you're going to see gold has been consolidating for the past almost 2 days. For almost 2 days, gold has been consolidating. So now you may think that, okay, if we're consolidating for these 2 days, maybe there's a breakout coming in. So for example, at the same time, if you're looking at a currency pair and we're consolidating, or we don't have a big candle from like, pre-London or London session and pre-New York, no volume, no breakout, then maybe there's going to be a break happening at New York Open, right? So you got to get ready for that. And then a question may be, oh, like, how do you get ready for that? You're just looking at the candles. You're looking at the market structure. You're looking at like, what candles are trying to tell you that where price may move. That's very, very important. Right? So we look at like, sessions. We're looking at the timing. We're looking at like, what sort of volume there is in different sessions that you're looking at. But the most important is that which time are you going to choose for yourself to trade? That's the most important, because we have a lot of them. We have 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Is this going to suit you best? Will 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. suit you best? Will, like, pre-London, London Open, pre-New York, like, New York Open, what's going to suit you best to trade? That's something that you have to decide first. For me personally, I can only talk about myself. My favorite way to trade is like, pre-London and London Open. This is what suits me best living in Dubai at this point. Right? Next, what we talk about is, maybe like, which currency pairs will this session be saved in the database? Yes, of course. We will save everything in the database. Now, let's make a list. And list is going to be, let's say we're going to list, like, we have pre-Asian session, then we have Asian Open, AO, we have pre-London, we have London Open, we have pre-New York, we have New York Open, and that's all we're going to talk about, right? So we have this list at this point. We have a very good list. And I think in this list we can put some nice pairs. By the way, this is the first time I'm using an iPad with the Apple Pencil and the MacBook, and it's incredible. I absolutely like it's just mind blowing to me at this point. So now, let's say we have this list, and what we got to do is we got to identify which currencies fall in these times of trading. First, we're going to look at pre-Asian, right? So if you look at the world, right? If you're looking at the world and pre-Asian to Asian open, which currencies are open during that time? We have Australian dollar, right? We have New Zealand dollar open at that time. We have yen, yes, Sultan. We have yen open at that time. Gold, gold is also functioning at that time. So now for pre-Asian, we have this list, right? Pre-Asian, we have so we have all these currencies. Next, we need to pair these currencies to say that okay, which ones are going to be best for us to trade. So let's say you're looking at pre-Asian and Asian open. What's the best currency to trade at this point? You also got to identify that whichever currency you're choosing, let's say you choose AUD JPY, right? AUD JPY. You choose AUD JPY. Okay, this is open. Next, you choose NZD JPY. This is open. And next, you choose, let's say, uh, gold is also open at this time. So now all these currencies, they are open at this time. And we all know that whenever we're looking at the currencies, currencies are either going to go up or they're going to go down, right? There's no other way that they're going to go. So now we have to decide that, okay, if you're going to choose Australian dollar against, JPY, we know Australian dollar is open at this time, and also JPY is also open during this session. Now, for us to decide whether Australian yen is going to move up or move down is going to be difficult because now we have to identify that is Australian dollar strong or is the yen strong? These are two things we need to identify. So this is difficult at this point because obviously both are open. And let's say, for example, if Australian dollar is weak and yen is weak, what's going to happen to the overall currency? If both currencies are weak, what's going to happen to the pair? Is the pair going to go up or down? Okay, someone is saying range, flat, okay, nothing, consolidation. Okay, perfect. We all are smart, right? So we're just gonna range at this point. If both currencies are stronger, we're still gonna range. We're still gonna range at this point, right? It's not gonna move. But at the same time, let's say if we're saying that, okay, you know what, I want to trade Australian yen and I'm looking for a buy. Now, if you're looking for a buy on Australian dollar, Australian yen, you want Australian dollar to be strong and you need yen to be weak. So now you're doing two analysis, right? You're analyzing Australian dollar to be strong, and also you're doing analysis on yen to be weak. Now this is more work. I'm a very lazy guy. I don't want to do a lot of hard work when I'm trying to do analysis on pairs, and I want to do simple things, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, you know what? Instead of me looking at Australian yen, I want to look at a pair which is only influenced by one currency. For example, we can look at GBP, JPY, or we can look at USD, JPY. Now, if I'm looking at GBP, JPY, and if I'm looking at buy on pound yen, all I got to do is say that, okay, if I'm looking for a buy on pound yen, I want to see if yen is weak, right? And if yen is weak, the whole pair, this pair, is going to go up, right? If I'm looking at USD yen, and if I'm looking for a sell on USD yen, all I got to do analysis on is to see whether yen is strong. If yen is strong, right over here, if yen goes up, then the whole pair is going to go down, and I can look for a sell. Just saw what I'm looking at. So when you're choosing currency pairs, you're choosing a pair which is influenced by only one currency, USD, JPY, which is only influenced by one currency. Write this down. And this was one of the biggest mistakes I made earlier on when I started trading. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to trade all the currencies in the Asian session. I'm going to look at all the analysis and I'm going to make a lot of fucking money. But it doesn't work like that. Once I started to get a little bit more mature, I started to get a little bit more smarter. I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to focus on, which is only influenced by one currency, and that's it. And the same idea goes in Asian Open. In Asian Open, you're looking at GBP, JPY, or USD, JPY, or you're looking at Australian, AUD, yeah, AUD, USD. You have NZD, USD. So always choose a currency pair that is influenced by just one currency. Next, when we go into pre-London, pre-London is the same thing. Like in London session, you have all right, so let me just remove this. Right? So okay. So first of all, I want to ask this, right? How's my pace? My pace too big, no, too fast, too slow, good, perfect, perfect, good. Number one, perfect. China, number one. Awesome. China is changing the world without even knowing it. Yeah, that's what they're saying. China, number one. I used to play League of Legends, and I used to play League of Legends with on the Asian server because they were really good, and I wanted to get good. So the only way to get good is to play with good players. So I would play with them and I would troll them. I would troll them. Oh, Canada is the best. Pakistan is the best. And they would come on the mics and they'll say, "Hey, you, China number one. We Alibaba." I'm like, "Oh shit." Can't 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 compete with them. All right, so let's say we have pre-London. Now in London session, there are only a few currencies open at the London session. We have pound, we have euro, and gold also moves at this time. That's it. And we have CHF and whatever others we have. But the main ones are only pound and euro. So we're only focusing on pound and we're only focusing on euro. Right now in pre-London, it's the same concept applies. If you're going to start to trade, let's say, all right, let's say you start to trade euro. Oh, what's happening over here? Malfunction. Let's say you start to trade euro, GBP, or you start to trade any pair that's also open at this point. It's going to be very, very difficult for you, right? If you're trading euro GBP, then you're doing analysis on the euro, you're doing analysis on the pound, and it gets very, very difficult because for the pair to move, you want one to be stronger and one to be weaker, and that's a lot of work that you need to do. So I have it really simple that if I'm going to trade pre-London if I'm going to trade London Open, I'm only going to focus on a currency pair that is influenced by one currency. For example, I'm only going to trade, let's say, Euro USD. Let me write this over here. Euro USD. Or I'm only going to trade GBP JPY or GBP, USD or Euro JPY or Euro USD, because out of all these pairs are only influenced by just one currency. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to go over and start to look at all these pairs. No, don't look at them. Just choose one. Just choose one and stick to it, because believe it or not, right? So let me tell you this one thing. No, actually, this one thing I'm going to tell you after we go over all these currencies right here. So all this also flows equally well into your London Open here as well. So it's the same thing in London Open, right? So you just got to choose one currency pair and then stick with it. Let's take a look at New York session. You have pre-New York, New York Open. Now, New York session is the session that has the most amount of volume out of all the sessions. Before we continue, I want to ask this. What's the time over there for you guys? It's almost 3 p.m. for me. 7 a.m., 9 p.m. Okay, 12 noon, midnight. Okay, not bad. 12 p.m. Dublin. 4 a.m. LA. God damn. 6 a.m. Chicago, 5 a.m., 2 p.m. Bulgaria, 7 a.m. Toronto. Okay, not bad, not bad, not bad. Slowly, we're going to move into NFP time as well in about an hour and a half. So I think we're going to trade NFP here together as well, right? So we're going to make some money or lose some money. Make some money and lose a lot of money, because normally if your buy stop, sell stop get activated, then we lose a lot of money. All right. So looking at the New York session, we have pound GBP open at this point. All right, what's happening over here? We have GBP open, you have Euro open, you have USD open, you have CAD open, Swiss franc open, and you have gold open. Like a lot of things are open at this point, right? So London session, no, New York session brings a lot of volume in the market. And in this, one thing you cannot trade, which I advise highly against, is GBP USD. Euro USD. I mean, you can trade them if you want, but I have had little to no success trading pound USD, Euro USD. I've had like no success trading these in the New York session. What I focused on always was USD CAD because I was in Canada, so we had some sort of success with USD CAD, but the majority of the success was with USD JPY, GBP JPY, XAU USD. New York session, New York open, the same thing. The same thing applies in this, right? So first, it's very important you have to understand what time is going to suit you best. Yeah, what time is going to suit you best to trade. Once you figure out what time is going to suit you best, you need to figure out what currency pair are you going to choose, right? Because believe it or not, every currency pair moves the same way in every session. What I mean by that is if you're looking at, let's say, your JPY is going to move the same way in every New York session, right? Pound yen is going to move the same way in every Asian session, in every London session, in every New York session, because every currency pair, it has its own personality of every session. If you're looking at gold, and if you're trading gold in the London session, gold is going to work extremely well during the London session, right? For you, if you look at gold in New York session, it's going to have a completely different personality in the New York session. In the same way, if you're trading pound yen in the London session, pound yen is going to be completely different in the New York session. It's going to be completely different in the Asian session. This goes well with people as well, right? Let's say if you have a buddy, right? Your buddy is in a great mood in the morning, and you know that if you want to get some work done, you're going to ask him in the morning, and you know that your buddy is in normally he's in a bad mood in the evening time. So if you're going to ask him to do something in the evening time, he's probably not going to do it because that's not his time. So you know that some people are more cooperative in the morning, some are more cooperative in the evening. You get along well with some people in the morning and evening and afternoon. Same thing works with the currency pairs and the sessions, because the idea is for you to master just one session. That's what you got to do. You got to master one session. That's it. You can't be a jack of all sessions. You can't be a jack of all currency pairs. You just got to be a master of one session, and you're going to be a master of one currency pair. That should be the goal at this point. And as we move along with our 4-day class over here, you're also going to be creating a trading plan as well. So the first thing that's going to go in your trading plan is going to be time to trade, the triple T. What's going to be your time to trade, right? You have to note this down. For me, my time to trade is from 1 p.m. till 4 p.m. That's my time to trade. 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. And what currency pair or what session is active in this time? That is London till pre-New York. That's what's active in this time. London to pre-New York. Next, I have to choose that, okay, which all right, which currency pair is active at this time is very simple. GJ or gold. That's all I gotta focus on. I have to focus on GJ, pound yen, or I have to focus on gold. That's it. There's nothing else. Because these things are gonna help you a lot as you go along, as you make a trading plan, and as you decide, like, which things are going to be best for you to trade, which things are like, some things that you got to ignore. Because sometimes, let's say you're looking at New York session and you're looking at your two pairs that you have to trade. Let's say you're looking at um, gold and pound yen, and they're basically, let's say this is your chart, and they're consolidating, right? They're consolidating, and let's say your buddy Jason trades like GU a lot. And you say, hey man, like screw GG and gold, man. Like GU is about to blast off. And you're like, okay, perfect, perfect. Let me just remove GG and gold and let me just pull up this GU chart because Jason thinks this is gonna blast off. And you trade GU and you lose money on GU because you haven't traded that before. And when you take a look at gold, gold did exactly what you thought it's gonna do. Right? And now you're thinking, man, shit, this guy Jason made me lose money. Jason didn't make you lose money. You made yourself lose money. You deviated from your own plan because if you would have waited just a little bit, gold would have done exactly what you thought gold was going to do. Exactly that. Even if you missed the trade, that's totally fine. What's this? Asim Siddiqui requesting to record meeting locally? No, we're already recording this. Uh-oh. Okay. Yeah, we're already recording this, right? So that's something that we have to really ignore at that point. So what we're going to do now is so we did time frames. No, we did sessions. We did currency pairs. We did what are we going to go over? And this is very important. So first, you need to choose what time is going to suit you best. Second, we have to choose what currency pair that we're going to focus on. Right. Next, something that we're going to go over is going to be time frames, right? Time frames is also very, very important. Now, one thing I've been really focusing on time frames is basically the 4 hour time frame. So let me bring up my black marker right over here and let's do this. All right. So time frames. Who trades the daily time frame over here? Daily time frame? Daily 4 hour time frame, um, 1 hour time frame, 30-minute time frame, 15-minute time frame. Oh, 4 hour time frame. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So this is something that can help you a lot. And also something that can help like some other guys here a lot as well. So this is what we're gonna do. So our main time frame is gonna be the daily time frame, right? This is the main time frame that we have. How many 4 hour candles are there in a daily time frame? 6. Perfect. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 4 hour candles in one daily time frame. Recently, all over the place, 1534 a weekly. Yeah. Yeah, recently everything's just been all over the place. Maybe because we have NFP coming here later on. What's the time in New York? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7:10 a.m. Okay. Right? So we have 4 hour candles in one daily time frame. Now every 4 hour candle has 4 1 hour candles. Just bear with me. I'm getting to a point And this is going to be very, very important for you to understand how time frames correlate. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. 1, 1, 1, 1. All right, now, when does the market start? Market starts at around, I would say, like 5 p.m. Eastern time. And when the market starts, we have the first 4-hour candle. So let me remove this daily and let me bring daily up over here. You know what else I can do? Check this out. I can do this, and then I can just move this like this. Cool, right? All right, let's get back over here. Right. So we got the daily right over. So whenever the market starts, you have the first 4-hour candle. Now, think about this. In the first 4-hour candle, what time frame do we have? Look at the time. So let's change this to, okay, let's change this to 5 p.m., right? In the first 4-hour candle, you're looking at 5 till 8, but we're looking at 5 to 9, right? So 5 to 9 is the first 4-hour candle. What session is there? The Asian session, right? We have the Asian session, uh, Asian session in the first 4-hour candle, right? We have the Asian session. Now, in the next 4-hour candle, which starts at about 1 a.m. Eastern, what session do we have right over here? We have the pre-London, right? So pre-London goes from like about right at 1 a.m. Eastern till about 5 a.m. Eastern. So we have pre-London till London Open. Let's go back over here. So right here we have 2 sessions. We have pre-London and we have London Open in the second 4-hour candle. What's this? No? Who said no? That's in the third. 1. Oh, yeah, you're right. That's in the third. Okay, my bad. My bad. That's in the third. I'm sorry. We have pre-London and London Open. My bad. So the first one is pre-Asian and Asian Open. The second one is normally there's not enough volume at this time because that's after Asian Open and before, like London Open. So I would say this is, low volume. So I'll put this as LV, low volume. Now we have the fourth. The fourth one is when we have your pre-New York going all the way into the New York Open. So we look at this right over here. We have pre-New York, from like pre-New York, and New York Open falls into our fourth 4-hour candle. Let's put this right over here. Let's move it all the way up. We have pre-New York and New York Open. Now in the fifth one, you have your NYSE and London Close. Oh, let's do this right over here. London Close, and then this one is also like, low volume at this time. So whenever you're looking at the 4-hour candles, you have to look at that, okay, which 4-hour candle is going to have the most amount of volume. So even if you look at the charts, even if you look at the daily candle, and if you look at the 4-hour candles, you're going to see that certain 4-hour candles are going to be bigger and certain 4-hour candles are going to be smaller. So the bigger 4-hour candles are the candles which have a lot of volume and they maybe fall in a session which generally has a lot of volume. So let's say you're looking at the 4-hour candle as soon as the daily candle starts and it's a smaller candle and you're like, okay, maybe this is the Asian session, and Asian session, maybe there's not enough volume at this time. So you wait around. You're like, okay, if the first 4-hour candle had no volume, let me take a look at the second one. The second one is generally the time when there's no volume at all. And now you're looking at the third 4-hour candle, and you're like, okay, you know what? The third 4-hour candle, it has to have volume as soon as the candle starts. So like, okay, maybe this candle is going to have volume. If the 4-hour candle has no volume, then you're going to look at the next one, which is going to be your pre-New York to New York Open. If this has no volume, then you're going to focus on the next one, if this is going to have volume or not. Because not every 4-hour candle is going to have volume. Also, when we take a look at the 1-hour candles, looking at the 1-hour candles is also very important, because look at it this way, right? This is 5 p.m. Eastern, going all the way into 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? This is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 p.m. Eastern. This is when it starts at 0 and goes all the way towards the 9, and the 9 we start the next one right over here. So we're only going to talk about pre-London till London Open, because this is the time I trade. So if I'm looking at the 4-hour candle, which is the third 4-hour candle of the daily time frame, I know that the first hour is basically 1 a.m. Eastern time, and this is when we have a lot of volume at this time. Whenever you're looking at the 4-hour candles, there's always going to be 1 or 2 1-hour candles that's going to create the overall 4-hour candle. If you look at the anatomy, let's take a look on the 4-hour. Let's say this is your 4-hour candle right here. There's maybe a very rare case there's going to be that you're going to have let's say this is 1, this is 1 1-hour candle, this is 2 1-hour candle, and then there's like 3 1-hour candle. Very rarely you're going to have 3 1-hour candles creating the overall 4-hour candle. Normally what you're going to have is that maybe you're just going to have like, 1 1-hour candle creating the main 4-hour candle, and the next 1-hour candles are just going to be kind of like, consolidating small body candles. So whenever you're looking at the 4-hour time frame, you're looking at that, okay, if I'm looking at the 4-hour, which 1-hour candle is most likely to create the overall 4-hour candle, right? So if you're looking at pre-London to London Open, you're looking at 1 a.m. Eastern time, there's no volume, then you're like, okay, you know what, 1 a.m. Eastern, there's no volume. Maybe there's going to be volume at, um, 2 a.m. Eastern time. There's going to be volume at this time. If there's no volume at 2 a.m., then you're like, okay, maybe there's going to be volume at London Open, which is 3 a.m. Eastern time. Like, what I'm trying to say? Like, whatever session you choose, you're looking at the 4-hour candle that, okay, I'm only going to focus on this 4-hour candle. So when I trade, I know I'm going to be trading pre-London to London Open. I'm only going to be focusing on one 4-hour candle. Because whenever price moves, there are billions of dollars moving in one candle. Even if you're looking at the 4-hour time frame, if you're looking at one 4-hour candle, there's like billions of dollars moving in that one 4-hour candle. And in that 4-hour candle, you're trying to see that, okay, can I estimate where the next 30-minute candle is going to go, or where the next 1-hour candle is going to go? Because that one candle on the 1 hour or the 30-minute is going to create the overall 4-hour candle. You're not anticipating the 4-hour candles. If you're looking at the volumes, you're looking at which candle is going to move your majority of the price action. Let's say we're we're moving away from London session, and we're not looking at the London session, and you're looking at the 4-hour candle during New York Open, right? So this is your 5 a.m. The next one is your 6 a.m. You have your 7 a.m. and then you have your 8 a.m. Right? Now these 4 times, they make up the overall 4-hour candle that falls in your New York session, right? If you had no volume at 5 a.m., maybe volume is going to come in at 6 a.m. If you didn't have volume at 6 a.m., maybe the volume is going to come in at 7 a.m., right? This is still pre-New York. If there's no volume at 7 a.m., then maybe candles are printing in a way that there's going to be volume at 8 a.m. So if you all look at the price right now on gold, let's say the 30-minute time frame or whatever, you're going to notice that gold is just consolidating, right? There's no volume. So maybe if there is no volume at the 7 a.m. time, there's going to be volume coming in at 8 a.m., right? So what's at 8 a.m.? We have New York Open. that maybe New York Open is going to push price, or we have some news happening in this 8 a.m. hour, right? So for people who are just watching the recording, at this time, price is just consolidating on gold. So maybe there's going to be volume coming in at 8 a.m., and if the 4-hour candle on gold right now is a small body candle, maybe that volume that comes in at NFP at 8:30 or at NY Open, that creates the overall 4-hour candle. Makes sense? So you're breaking down a 4-hour candle into small chunks of 1-hour candles and then the 30-minute candle, because essentially you're only looking at one 30-minute candle where it's going to go. You're just looking at one 1-hour candle where it's going to go. That's all what you're looking at. Is it possible to have a huge volume in all 4 1-hour candles? It's possible, but I have very rarely seen that. Very, very, very rarely I've seen that. Normally what I've seen is this, like let's say you're gonna have one 1-hour candle that's gonna go like this, you're gonna have a second one that goes like this, then the third one is gonna go all the way up, and then the fourth one is probably gonna form something like this, and overall your 4-hour candle may look like this. That's what I've seen most times. But it's very rare that all 4 candles are going to have a lot of volume, which is why I only focus on just one candle to go where I expect it to move. Because it's easier. It's easier for me, it's easier for everybody else as well. Right? So we're good so far with the sessions, currency pairs. We're good with the time frames. Like, this whole thing about breaking down the daily into 4-hour candles and prioritizing which 4-hour candle falls in which session. It takes a little bit of a time, because when I'm trading, I'm only looking at one 4-hour candle, because I know if I'm going to trade London session, I only have to focus on one 4-hour candle. That's it. And then I can see that where that 4-hour candle is going to move. How do we anticipate which ones are going to have volume out of the 4? That question is going to be answered in price action. Generally, we don't know. Generally we don't know, but price is going to create some sort of a market structure which will kind of tell us that, oh, okay. For example, okay, so let me answer like a part of that, right? Let's say, for example, price is coming down and you're looking at buys at NY Open, and then we start to create a support, right? And if that support is and if that support is formed like this, and it happens to be NY Open, then you know that, oh, okay, we formed support in a uptrend. So maybe now this is also NY Open. Maybe now the next candle can continue to push up. So that's how you kind of guesstimate how the volume is going to go. But we're also going to talk about that much more later on here as well. But let's take like a little 10-minute break, right? Like a 10-minute break, and then we're going to circle back. So yeah, let's take a 10-minute break. I'm going to stop the recording so it processes it and it saves it. And then we're going to come back in with the same link back again. Okay, so we're going to take a 10-minute break, freshen up, get something, a little bit of a munchies, and then we're gonna circle back over here. See you guys in 10 minutes.